Let's get into it. Episode 671, Soul Not For Sale podcast. And as you can see right here, BLM Chicago posted this tweet. They said, "That is all. That is it." And a friend of mine sent this to me. I have a bunch of Jewish friends. This particular friend is like a brother to me. We're like family. We've known each other for, I want to say like 17 years now. Very close. He's probably going to come over and be on the podcast and explain some political stuff. And he was upset when he saw this. He was upset. He's like, I can't believe it, you know? And I noticed there's a lot of Jewish people who can't believe this. Can't believe that BLM, this is Black Lives Matter. How could black people and Jewish people have so much history and then also so much in common in terms of what they've gone through? How could they be like this? And I had to explain to him. I had to explain it to him. And it made me laugh, but it's not funny. But it's like when you realize what BLM is and what they've done, you're looking at this organization and you're like, how could this black organization not want to, back up what Jewish people are going through right now with everything that's happening in this conflict, all the things that have happened? How could you not stand beside us? BLM didn't even stand beside black people when they were activating riots all across the United States. They don't when you realize that these people are Marxists, literally, let's just play this real quick.
The criticism is helpful. I also think that it might, I think of a lot of things. The first thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are
trained Marxists. This is one of the co-founders of BLM, not like BLM Canada or not BLM here, like one of the direct co-founders talking about how she's a trained Marxist. So when you hear that and you realize that these people look up to people like Che Guevara, they look at Castro with admiration. Like Justin Trudeau was quoted saying, I look at China, I really admire what China's been able to do. When you look at these people and you see what they've been able to do and see what they were willing to do to black neighborhoods, you can't expect them for not 1 second to be on the side of Jewish people. They weren't even on the side of black people. They made $100 million and put none of it back into the community. So you can't expect these people to be backing up they terrorized the United States. They really did. There was riots everywhere in the name of BLM. It wasn't in the name of George Floyd. That's what they used to activate. It was in the name of BLM. It was in the name of their own interests. You could tell it was in the name of their own interests because most of the cities that they burnt down, that they smashed up, were black communities. And they put nothing back into those communities after they collected $100 million. The founders, as everybody knows, they ended up buying mansions. They ended up hiring friends and family as security and giving them 6 figures, and they spread the money all around themselves like elites usually do. They pretty much use the communist framework of, listen, we are here to help. Give us money, give us control, give us power, and we will make sure to redistribute it. This is what we're all about. We're going to take money from the police and we're going to give it to you guys. None of that happened. Money was taken away from the police, wasn't put back in the communities. Police hands were tied when it comes to certain things, even to this day. Smash and grabs, looting, their hands are tied. It's not helping the black community. So when you realize that they weren't even trying to help the black community, you can't possibly think they're going to help the Jewish community. It's not happening. And this gentleman on the Joe Rogan Experience, he actually explains this quite perfectly. I've been saying this for some time. I call it the attack within, but the way that he says it is really, really great. Let's play that.
them better, train them better.
Yeah.
And we should all want this.
Yeah.
This defund the cop shit is crazy.
I think a lot of this movement has been co-opted.
By
and I always hesitate because I like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I have to call a spade a spade. There are a lot of subversive. There's a subversive group in this country that wants to topple the current structure of the United States,
Yes.
so that they can gain power because they think they can rule better.
yes.
And a lot of those people, generally speaking, are Marxist.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. That's why, like, I make a delineation when people are asking me about Black Lives Matter, for instance. Black Lives Matter, the sentiment, I can get down with. Black Lives Matter, the organization, I cannot.
And why is that?
Because they are not for the same thing.
So what
They're
do you
not.
think?
The leader, the founders of Black Matter, like the founders of Black Lives Matter, literally just came out and basically said she's a trained Marxist. She didn't basically say it, she said it blatantly. She's a trained Marxist. Both of them. The founders of Black Lives Matter organization
Are these the
both
same
trained Marxists.
folks that went on stage with Bernie Sanders at one time
I believe so. Don't quote me on that.
and took the mic from him?
Whoever the two women are who are the founders of Black Lives Matter, the organization, they are trained Marxists. They said it with their own mouth on the show.
And what is their goal? What do they want?
Well, what do Marxists want? They want to topple the current structure. They have their so to speak, their useful idiots that create chaos to topple whatever structure is in place so that they can come in, fill the vacuum. And then what do they do with the useless chaos? What do they do with the useful idiots? They dispose of them because they are rebellious in nature and thus will topple the power structure that's in place then.
So
That's
who are the
essentially
useful idiots that you think they are utilizing?
the people running around spraying Black Lives Matters while rioting and looting.
Yes.
Not protesting,
Right.
but rioting and looting.
That's the distinction.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I did a shitty job of explaining. There's a lot of people that are out there protesting it. I don't necessarily think they understand what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Like, what needs to be done.
The way that gentleman just broke it down, the name's Colin Noir. It's almost like my name, but different. But the way that he just explained it was perfect. That's exactly what it is. They were not for the black community. They came in quick. They caused a lot of civil unrest. They injured police departments. They riled up the black community. Even to this day, when you look at the looting that's happening, you can trace it back to people thinking this is okay. You can kind of trace it back to what they did, to all the BLM riots, to the mostly peaceful protests. You can trace it back to that. It's the same thing. It's ridiculous. So I just wanted to go over that really quick because a lot of people are like, "Oh, can you believe that Black Lives Matter is siding with Palestine?" And listen, whatever your side is, you can have your side, freedom of speech. You can have your side. If you're for them, if you're for Israel, whatever. But if you're a Jewish person, or if you're someone who's siding with Israel and you're surprised that Black Lives Matter is not on your side of things, you really have to look at who they look up to. Look at what they say they are. They say they're Marxists. That's a pretty good sign. They say that they're Marxists. They're really into socialism. That's why they took stage with Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders was talking about some socialistic type of stuff. They're really into socialism. They really want to usher in communism. They really have no problem with a lot of people not having much, as you can see in the black community, and them having literally $100 million. They have no problem with that, as long as it's them that's making the money. Believe me, Black Lives Matter is not for black people. It's not for Jewish people. It's not for white people. They're for themselves. Case in point. Anyways, guys, if you haven't liked already, like the video. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to subscribe. Other than that, I'm out.